So welcome back everybody. Today is the first of 30 reviews over the course of this month. I'm going to take one day off, and that's going to be Christmas Day, but the day after it's actually going to be a comparison video between two adaptations of the same story. Today's review, if you clicked on this video because you thought it was the animated one, I'm sorry, but it's not the animated one. So the film I'm talking about is from 2010. It's written and directed by Adam Green, who some of you might know from a horror franchise called Hatchet. This film is, I believe, his second film, and I'm talking about the film Frozen. And what's unique about this is the premise of it taking place almost entirely on a ski lift. Three friends get stuck up there over the course of, I believe, 3 total days. The movie opens up with a montage of shots of the ski lift, like the mechanisms, all the gears, wires, and stuff like that. It's interesting, but at the same time, I'm not really sure why it actually is there. The first shot of the film is an aerial. There's a few shots in it that are aerial. Like, that cinematography is really good. The acting of the three actors, Kevin Zegers, Shawn Ashmore, and Emma Bell, is really good. The banter that the three of them have really shows that those characters are friends, and it's very believable. I'm not entirely sure how they filmed some of the shots, but I didn't have time to actually watch some of the behind the scenes stuff. Most of it's very unique and it's creative because the characters are stuck on a ski lift. Like, the way that the variety of shots that they have works well with it. It's not as much as you would think, but it still works. It also really shows how vulnerable the characters are in some scenes when they're on the lift. Some of them just focus on like one angle to show their reaction to something else that's happening, when in like another film they'd probably cut to what is happening for that shock value. In my Gremlins review that is coming up, they do the same kind of thing in a few shots. It really works well. Some of the shots I found didn't really line up as best as they could have. Example is when they're all in the lodge. Parker is supposed to be behind Lynch. In some shots where it's a close-up on Lynch, you can see that he's turning his head. But then in close-ups on Kevin Zegers' character, which I forget what his name is, Parker is kind of at the end of the table, like kind of, if there was a shot where it would show all three of them in it, that shot would show Parker in the center of both of them, which I felt was odd, but it kind of happened later on when they were on the lift, so it could have also been a perspective thing. It might have been an editing mistake, shooting mistake, I don't know. It could have been intentional. The music in it fits great with it. It works well with some of the shots to convey the emotion of the story. Going back to the editing thing, other than like that issue, I feel like the editing feels natural and it flows well. Now, I'm not sure if they use natural lighting for the scenes on the lift, but it worked really well. There's a couple of cameos in the film. In the lodge scene, Dee Snider from Twisted Sister's son is actually in the film. I think he's the extra that has a Twisted Sister t-shirt on. Kane Hodder is in the film. Like, some people may know him from playing Jason. He also starred in Adam Green's first film, Hatchet, as not only Victor Crowley, but Victor Crowley's dad. I'll probably get to reviewing that film at some point. The snow effects seem very real and they seem natural, but I think they were added in post-production, because at the beginning of the film, when there's that first snowstorm, it feels real and it looks like it's actually happening there, but later on it feels like it's more of something that was done in After Effects, which is not bad because it still works realistically. Just in the later scenes, you see it behind them and not in front of them. The gore effects are really well done in the film. There's only like maybe 4 spots in the film where they had to use it. It was executed very well and looked very realistic. The makeup in the film, the frostbite that appears on Parker's face gets worse and worse as the film goes on, which is not a detail that many people might pick up. The frost on all of their faces, I felt was a good touch to show like how cold the scene was supposed to be. The framing of some shots is perfect just before all the lights get turned off. There's a scene where it shows the lift in between like 2 sets of lights. It's kind of hard to tell whether it's like lights from like the lift or whatever, or vehicles that were down there that were lighting up the scene. Either way, it was framed really well. Creates an unsettling and terrifying film. A lot of the establishing shots are very picturesque. What's funny is one of the establishing shots I think has inspired a lot of other. It looks very like a very familiar shot. The directing and writing by Adam Green was really good. He definitely is one of my favorite filmmakers. All the editing, everything, like I already said, it creates an unsettling and terrifying film, but it's also very intense and original. There's been many films where like the beginning and end of the film is a different location than the bulk of the film, or like it's all shot in like a really tight spot, where this one, it's in a tight spot but it's also very open, and that adds to how vulnerable the characters are. Couple films that I would say use like that basic structure where there's a character or characters stuck in one place and that's the entire movie would be the film Vent, which I'll put a card in somewhere here for you guys to check out my review of that film. And Ryan Reynolds' film, it's called Buried. All very good films. This story is also partially like a little bit of a drama, because it does have heart. Definitely does set it apart from most other horror films that try to incorporate these elements. Yeah, it's very emotional at parts, so that's also tied to how well it's acted. So overall, it's a very good film. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, you should check it out. I don't think it's that well known of a film, so I'm not sure if it's on any streaming services or not, but you could always just buy the DVD of it. If I had to give it a rating, I would probably give it a 9, because I did have some issues with it. Some of the shots I feel didn't really add up, or it didn't flow, or it just stood out as possibly being a mistake. Pretty much everything I've seen from Adam Green has been very well done, well produced and all that, well written. I'll definitely be reviewing some of his other stuff later on. Stay tuned for the other reviews I have coming up. I got some well-known films and then some not so well-known films. I should note that one of the bigger films that I'm going to be taking a look at, I'm going to attempt to review an Alfred Hitchcock film for December 11th. And those that have seen the film know that the film Psycho actually takes place partially on December 11th. It kind of makes it a holiday movie, even though some people would probably disagree with that. Much like the whole Die Hard debate. Stay tuned, and I'll see you in tomorrow's review.